Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are taking our very first look at the brand new Carl Schonberg or however the hell you pronounce it. Tier 7 German destroyer. First of all, we're running Eric Bay with Jerzy Swirsky and William Sims as our inspirations. We got Observant Rage, Mortar. You might want to swap Mortar off. For like listen closely, gives you extra sonars, or look at me now for a little bit better detectability. But Mortar gives you a much worse detectability, so it's a thought. You could easily go with this to get a little bit closer. Let me know what you guys think. Perceptive for the being able to see the direction of the enemy ship, which is very nice. And then we've got smoke on the water for a little bit more smoke time. Oh, never mind. I didn't know what that was, so I had to check. Anyway, unstoppable. Keeps your engines moving even when you're knocked out, so comes in real handy, especially for a gunboat. Now, aiming systems mod 1, propulsion mod 2, concealment system mod, and our main battery mod 3, with the epic modification to make it to where we get a little bit faster reload as we do more damage. Flag is the Italian Unity flag, because if you squint just right, kind of looks like a Spartan helmet. And then the Type 9 camo that comes with the ship. Everything else is pretty normal. You could swap out your smoke generator for a reload booster if you want. From what I've seen, probably wouldn't recommend doing that. But that's just my opinion. Reload boosters do come in handy. If you want to go for just a sole gunboat build and just build into range and then gun reload, then I could see why you'd want to do that. But these guns reload pretty good on their own. I don't think you really necessarily need to run with the reload booster. Having the smoke screen does come in handy for farming other people. And for dealing with DDs in the cap, you can smoke up and keep them sonared and kill them that way. 150 we have 25,300 hit points with this build. 150 millimeter L50 or L48 TBTS LC36. You get 4 of them, reaching out to 11.2 kilometers with this build, reloading in just 4.3 seconds. Remember, these are 150 millimeter guns reloading in 4.3 seconds. Pretty good. 180 degree turn time is terrible, 19.3 seconds. Despite being single gun turrets, these turrets do not want to turn. These are cruiser style guns, and they rotate like cruisers. But not good cruisers, bad cruisers. HE shell maximum damage is 2,486 with an 11% chance to set fires. AP shell maximum damage of 4,294. Because these are 150 millimeter guns, if a ship decides to give you broadside, absolutely switch to AP. You can tear people apart with the AP. Obviously, you want to get some damage over time with your torps and your fires, but getting that chunk damage with the AP if somebody's dumb enough to give you a broadside is pretty funny. Citadel and cruisers never gets old from a DD. Torpedo launchers. You get 533 millimeter Veerling torpedoes. You get 2 quad launchers on the ship. They reload in 90 seconds with this build. They have a maximum damage of just 13,700 with a 1.3 kilometer detectability. 8.5 kilometers of range is pretty not fun. At tier 7 means you got to get a lot closer than you necessarily want to. And then torpedo speed, it's terrible. The torpedo speed is absolutely abysmal. AA defense, you get 20 millimeter flak 38s. You get 4 of those, doing 12 damage per second, reaching out to just 2 kilometers. 20 millimeter flak Veerling 38, you get 16 of those, doing 24 damage per second and reaching out to 2 kilometers. 37 millimeter flak LM 43s, you get 2 of those, doing 15 damage per second, reaching out to 3.5 kilometers. Basically, what I'm saying is turn your AA off, because the world is full of Chekhovs right now, or however you want to call that thing, and don't bother, because these things, you might shoot down 1 or 2 planes during the course of a match. Maximum speed is 36 knots without the engine boost running. Turning circle 690 meters. Rudder shift feels better when you're dodging, but doesn't turn particularly well. It's kind of sluggish when it actually starts turning. The rudder shift itself doesn't feel too bad, but like it doesn't finish the turns. You know what I mean? Like it's quick to start the turn, doesn't finish turns very well. So keep that in mind when you're getting in knife fights up close and personal. Detectability with this build is 5.6 kilometers. Again, if you swap out mortar for the other perk, you can get a little bit more detectability, or a little bit more concealment. Probably get it down to 5.2 kilometers, somewhere in that neighborhood. But yeah, I have mortar on, so bad concealment. Detectability while firing in smoke is 3. Guaranteed is always 2. Moving on, stats are going to be terrible. I have been chikaloved more than I care to admit. This is just every single time that I've loaded in tonight, seemingly, I have been against that damn carrier. And every time I start to fight something, that fucker comes out of nowhere and just yeets my broadside. Like, I can't dodge the carrier and deal with everybody in the lobby. But 10 battles played. It's not been a lot of fun. Guns are decently accurate. It's kind of a little awkward. Sometimes they're a little too accurate. Like, I'm used to the guns kind of spreading out a little bit, and that leads me to missing some of my shots. But yeah, overall, you're up close and personal. It's not hard to hit. As you can see, torp accuracy is terrible. Again, these are very slow torps. If anybody even thinks about their grandchildren changing direction in the future, they're going to dodge your torps. That's just the way it is. Average damage is pretty low. Damage upon spotting, pretty low, as you'd expect, because teammates don't exist. It's not been a lot of fun tonight, I'll be real honest. Doesn't have any armor. 15 millimeters everywhere, so get used to it. It's a destroyer. Tough, above average base HP rating. That's pretty much its only saving grace. It's a German DD. It's got long range sonar, which is nice, but other than that, like, that's really the only advantage you have in any sort of fight. Extended sonar range is what we already talked about. Barrage can be equipped with the main battery reload booster, though I don't think that's the best ideal. Schonberg, a large destroyer design developed by the shipbuilding company Vulcan in 1933 to be used as the basis for the future Type 1934 destroyers. One of the ship's armament options was the installation of 5.9-inch 150mm guns. However, the design was never further developed, as the Kriegsmarine High Command chose the Deutschwerk version. I'm assuming that's how that's pronounced. That would be the Dutch Works, right? The Dutch Works version. For serial construction, which was smaller in size and had lighter armament. Year of design was 1933, apparently never built. So, yeah. I mean, I don't hate the ship at all. I just find it pretty annoying to play this style of ship. Only having 4 guns does hurt it in a gunboat. Like, yes, they fire fast. Yes, they punch hard, but only having 4 of them is problematic. You get hit, they knock the guns out, and then you just sit there and laugh, because that's all you can do. And trying to torpedo anything with this is less than futility, because they are very slow. But overall, it's not bad. It's not great. It's another German destroyer with long-range sonar, and that's about all you can say about it. It's not particularly difficult to counter this thing. Just stay outside of sonar range, spot it for your team. But anyway, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Sleeping Giant. Sorry, my brain's not working right now, guys. I've been streaming my butt off lately, and I just do not have a whole lot of energy. Anyway, we're in this Schonberg, and everything that can go wrong will go wrong when I'm playing to get a video. That is the gist of everything that is wrong with what I've had to deal with tonight. First of all, there's 2 ships I was trying to get a video in tonight. The Schonberg and the Peterbag B, right? The Peter Bagration B. And so, in Wargaming's infinite wisdom, they decide to release the freaking Chikalov on top of us, and we all know how busted that ship is. Now, try playing a game in the Peterbag as a community contributor, as probably the easiest to recognize community contributor in the entire lobby, and then have every lobby filled up with that. And then on top of that, not only that, but I also managed to run into a Super Unicum division, triple division, where they had a battleship, a cruiser, and a Chikalov. Boy, was that fun. All you can do sometimes is just do the best you can and then hope for the best. Now, right now, you're probably thinking, well, Spartan, why didn't you go middle here? Well, that's pretty straightforward and simple. Enemy team has a Tier 6 destroyer and a Peter Bagration. Peter Bagration is a radar cruiser, 11.7 kilometers of radar, right? If I go into the middle, there's a good chance that I run into the middle division, because that's where they usually spawn, right? Divisions usually spawn mid. We've been over this. So I figure in order to give myself the best possible chance of doing as much as possible during this match and not just going in, killing a destroyer and dying, I figure I go over to the right side to help this team out. Now look at my team. We've got 3 people on the left side. Everybody else is right here, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I go over to the right side. I should be pretty safe to go out there and deal with whatever's out here. Be able to spot for my team. My team should be able to help get rid of things really quickly. And as I put this plan into action, I just need to stop insinuating that my teammates are going to ever do anything other than sit where they spawn and hope that somebody carries them to a victory. And then when all else fails, they will do everything in their possible to throw a match. And that is exactly what's about to happen. So I'm not going to spoil the ending, but trust me, it's not what you think. But we're going to push around the corner to spot for the team, see what's out here, and then hopefully our team will come over and assist us. Now, unbeknownst to me, and in the spirit of anything that can go wrong will go wrong, I run into a no division, just so happens to be 2 prolific secondary build battleships, both of which are just YOLOing forward, and I know that I don't have the concealment. But we're going to go ahead. I know I'm about to be spotted. I'm going to drop smoke. I'm going to turn away. Now watch the turning radius of this destroyer, right? Like, as I drop smoke, I turn away, hoping that the smoke will stop me and break contact from the enemy ships, and they do. Now, what I wasn't anticipating was the Navarin then deciding that, you know what, I don't need to go inside. I'm now going to just turn full left and go right out into the open. And this basically screws me over, because I get a beautiful torp strike into the 2 battleships as they push in, and all is well in the world, right? Well, I know I can't sit here, because now they are going to YOLO rush me. They both have ridiculous secondaries, and as I'm pushing out, I want to wrap back around to the right, back to my teammates, to be able to get away from these guys. And I know that I'm going to take a lot of damage here, because there's too many secondaries. I am the only thing either of them can shoot at, and I cannot break contact because the Navarin decided, with all of his infinite wisdom, that he needed to go out to the left, which should lead to him being swiftly removed if my teammates would use armor piercing once in a while on a broadside target. But again, that's not possible, right? Everybody just shoots HE out of everything, because that's the I don't need skill button. But fortunately, the Navarin does go down. But unfortunately, the Scharnhorst just charges straight through the smoke screen and keeps me lit up. So at this point, I have no choice. It's time to start trying to do some damage here. And I have lost all my hit points because of a fluke of nature, where 2 genius battleship captains that should never have gotten to the point where they are managed to just YOLO rush ahead and catch me off guard. Like, nothing I could do about it, right? If I stayed there, I would have died. I had to leave the smoke screen, and as soon as I leave the smoke screen, that's when these guys charge straight through the smoke. And again, if they used AP, these guys would have died so quickly. But they didn't. They were shooting HE. So let this be a lesson to you, folks. You get a shot at broadside targets, no matter what it is, load armor piercing, man. Everything from cruiser and destroyer guns all the way up through battleships can absolutely obliterate anything that decides to go broadside. So you don't always have to just shoot HE. And when you consider the fact we have a Siegfried there, we have a Temeraire here, we have a Chapayev over here, like, there's a lot of prolific guns that could absolutely yeet people, right? But for whatever reason, it's just HE as far as the eye can see. There was also a Scharnhorst over here, right? Now, I wanted you guys to realize that I'm not just saying this to be a jerk or anything like that. I'm saying this because it's something you see a lot of during the match, and people can learn from. If you get a broadside target, load armor piercing, guys. You'd be surprised. Oh, it was an Awami. The Scharnhorst must be the guy all the way on the left flank of the map who's going to turn and run and come all the way over here. I want you guys to keep an eye on that later on. But as we push in, again, my goal here is simple. I've lived. I have no hit points. I cannot possibly get into a gunfight with anything that can shoot me back, right? Like, I have to be very, very strategic from here on out. We have 55,000 damage done. So now, it's up to me to try to get around. Now, fortunately, our Carl manages to kill their Skane. And as we push in, our Siegfried's putting himself in a good position to counter the Kuhne-Bereti. Now, one of the saving graces during this side of the fight was that the enemy team decided they didn't need to push anything else out here. Like, it was just those two battleships. Had they done anything else other than have the rest of their team that was on this flank sitting behind this island, there's a good chance that they would have possibly been able to stop this from ever being even a competitive match. Now, I know what you're thinking right now. You're looking at the map, you're going, oh, but Spartan, your team's ahead. Everywhere, except we're not. The enemy has all the caps, right? All of them. Now, our Siegfried pushes in. Between him and the Carl managed to get rid of another destroyer. That leaves one destroyer left. There's a Delaware here, and I have smoke and sonar about to come off of cooldown. But not only is there a Delaware here, but there's a Ruprecht as well, and that just kind of craps all over any plan that I thought I had about potentially being able to get away with farming this freaking Delaware. Because Ruprecht has long-range sonar, so there's no way that I can get anywhere near these guys to be able to do what I need to do. Now, Ruprecht is full broadside, so in theory, these guys should absolutely yeet them. Now, as we sit out here and we go ahead and use our smoke screen, this Ruprecht does the one thing that I absolutely cringed about, which was that he is now going to turn bow into me, and that is terrifying, because if he activates a sonar, gets within 6 kilometers, I'm a dead man, right? There's nothing I can do about that. But he is losing a lot of hit points here. There has been some armor piercing thrown around finally, and thankfully, that has cleared a lot of hit points off of him. And now, as we turn, or as he turns, we've got a beautiful look to use some armor piercing, and this is what I'm talking about. So you guys want to see what I'm talking about when I say load armor piercing. Even in a destroyer. Even in a destroyer. Look at the broadside of this battleship, and what, well, some of those hit the belt. But we want to aim high. We want to hit superstructure and upper side plating. But look at the chunk damage we can get when we get it. Now, fortunately for us, he doesn't have a sonar running, and he manages to turn away so that we're just able to try to farm him. Now, as he turns away, we go ahead and load back into the HE because I want to get rid of him. But unfortunately, we are basically the ones spotting him. So once they stop shooting, they're going to go dark. Our Chapayev, I'm assuming, is the one directly behind me, is using the island to keep himself out of too much danger. But as we're trying to get the fires to kill this Ruprecht, like, it's just not happening. Like, I can't get the fire needed to finish him off. Now, we come out of our smoke, and now we're in trouble, right? Like, I now cannot possibly go for the kill on the Ruprecht because my smoke is officially over. Now, we did manage to put up a little bit of damage there, less than 20k, unfortunately, but we got a little bit of damage out of that smoke screen. And now we're going to go ahead and try to drop some torpedoes on the Delaware and try to continue to keep this team spotted for my team to potentially get some shots. And you can see they are eventually going to be able to take down this Ruprecht, which then frees me up to doing what I figured I would be able to do, which was farm this Delaware. Right? That was the whole reason I came out here, was to farm this Delaware, and the Ruprecht just happened to be in the perfect place to ruin my plans. But as we push around, we've got the torpedoes on the way. These HE shells are basically going to be able to pin everything except for, like, extreme armor plating. They can pin the flight decks of these things. They can pin the side plating of these things. And this just turns out to happen to be a freaking secondary build Delaware. So now I have to try to get even more distance between me and the Delaware, which ends up being a good thing because we hit him with a torpedo, and he shoots way behind. I'm assuming that was an auto-aim shot because he's way behind us. But we need to keep in range so that we can continue to shoot this guy, because if you haven't paid attention, we are down 200 points. The teams are now a lot closer than they should have. If you look up in the top left corner of the map, you're going to see that relatively quickly, our team is just going to disappear. You would think that they'd be able to hold that flank, considering there's so many of us over there. But I'm going to try to keep this Delaware preoccupied. He's going to get some shots at us. We get some fires, and he actually has loaded HE here, which is the right call for him. And then we are going to try to dodge and avoid damage at this point. But I don't know if you've paid attention, but there just happens to be a cruiser heading in this direction. Now, what cruiser could that be, folks? There's only one in the lobby. It's the Peter Bag, a radar cruiser with 11.7 kilometer detection. So, yeah, I cannot possibly get close enough to finish this fight without opening myself up to being killed by the Delaware and the Peter Bag. And at this point, I'm saying that the game is probably winnable, so I need to try to do what I can to not die so that I can give my team the best possible chance to win. Now, our fire's continuing to build up damage on the Delaware. The Delaware's trying to stay out of range of us. Peter Bag is coming over to help him, shocker. This is why it's so important to pay attention to the minimap, guys. Despite all of the crap that we've run into, all of the things that have been perfectly placed at the worst possible time for me, we have still managed to be an absolute nuisance during this match and do our job to keep the guys spotted, to continuously put pressure on the enemy ships, to continuously put ourselves in position to give our team the best possible chance to win. Now again, we have people in the top left corner. They are going, what, 2 or 3v1 right now over there? But with the Peter Bag out here, I have to wait until I get the island between me and the Peter Bag. Now, we have a battleship right there that can help keep them spotted, which I believe is the Temeraire. So, as long as we have that battleship, we're going to have spotting, and we can use the island cover to be able to get some broadside shots. Now, this angle looks really good to me, so I'm going to go ahead and load up the armor piercing. Again, we can Citadel cruisers given a good shot, but unfortunately, he is angled enough that we're not able to get the Citadels. We are still chunking him really good, though. And then, when I realize I'm not Citadeling him, I go ahead and load up the HE just because that gives us a chance for damage over time as well. And the Delaware had us momentarily spotted, but he was reversing, going behind the island. We dodged the Delaware shells just by modulating what we're doing, going forward, reversing, that sort of thing. Unfortunately, our torpedoes run out before they get to the Peter Bag, but we are going to just continue to try to farm this guy and hoping to get him out of here. Now again, our team has managed to throw that that left flank. The cruiser goes down. That leaves just a Scharnhorst 43 over there. That is a full health Scharnhorst 43 on the left corner of the map, running from a single battleship. If I need to tell you why that's bad, you probably need to go back and learn how to play brawling torpedo battleships, because there's no reason you should be running in a Scharnhorst 43 from a 1v1 against anything, right? I don't care what it is, right? You've got prolific secondaries, you got stupid torpedoes, like, you got all of it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Peter Bag got me here. I ain't gonna lie. Peter Bag almost got me. Thankfully he had either a widespread or that we just got lucky for the RNG on the torpedoes. But we get to sit here and deal damage, again, using the island for cover to continuously put pressure on the Delaware to take him out. And between us and the other battleship, we are going to be able to do so. Unfortunately, it does not matter, because despite us doing everything in our power to give our team the best possible chance to win, the one person that could have been in a fight with that guy on the left flank to potentially win that flank ends up running away for the entire game, doing as little as possible and ending up costing us this match. We cannot possibly win, because even when this Delaware dies, we are still losing on points. This is why it's so important to have people capturing bases. And this is where I look back to see what the battleship was. I gave him the benefit of the doubt initially. I was like, maybe the guy that was over there was in a big fight the entire time. I knew there were ships back there, but maybe he's just low health and he had to get out of there. But no, I look back and the dude's full health and it's just like, okay, well, whatever. I'm not saying that to disparage the person, but it's a Hawk. Alright? You're in a Scharnhorst. It's a Hawk. Why are you running? Like, the Hawk has torpedoes too. Gets a couple of little torpedoes. But so do you. And between the two, I would take the Scharnhorst in that brawl versus the Hawk, because again, you have the secondaries. You can easily deal damage over time. But that's my best game that I've had in the ship. Is it a ship that I'll play in the future? Probably not. Again, I just don't really care for it. It's okay. It's serviceable. But it's very situational, whether or not it's going to be particularly useful. If you build it for a gunboat and use it more like a lot of people build for range gunboats and do the kitey spammy thing, I think that would be a very good role for this. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'll be interested to hear from you. And if you like what I'm doing, punch a like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.